Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Christina and I'm here today to talk about plant-based universities. If you haven't heard about this initiative before, they're an organization from the UK that helps students and professors at different universities to campaign for a fully plant-based catering system. I think they're a wonderful organization. They just recently launched this open letter signed by about 600 different academics from the UK advocating for fully plant-based catering. And Nathan McGovern, which you might know from his Piers Morgan interview a while back, did an interview as part of plant-based universities about whether it's time to make universities go vegan. And I thought it was an interesting interview, although it's quite short, but I wanted to share it with you guys, and so yeah, here we go.
Could students returning to university later this month find their campuses have banned meat from all the canteens? Over 600 academics want to see that happening. They're signing up to a letter calling on all universities to commit to 100% plant-based meals.
So, is it right to make universities go vegan? Joining us now is Nathan McGovern from the Plant-Based Universities Campaign, who are part of the activist movement Animal Rising and have written this letter, and former National Farmers Union student ambassador Carl Franklin, who says you can't dictate what people consume in this way. Good morning to both of you. Nathan, let's come to you first then. Why do you feel strongly that universities should do this? How much of a difference do you think it will make?
Well, I think we can all acknowledge that universities are sites of knowledge. You know, they provide us with so much knowledge about the climate crisis, our food system, and they have a duty to be acting on that research and on that knowledge. And what that research is telling us is that shifting to a plant-based food system is unequivocally a key solution to our climate and ecological crises. So what we're saying is, universities, let's step up, make these transitions to plant-based catering. You know, the way I see it, serving meat and dairy at a university is akin to serving cigarettes at a lung cancer conference.
I really like the certitude with which Nathan is speaking here. He's talking about universities, says universities are sites of knowledge. They do this important research for the betterment of our world, our environment, the beings living within it. They have a duty, a moral duty to act on that research. And I think campaigning for a fully plant-based food system in institutions like universities in this way, as a way to say oh, as a university, you want to be sustainable, you want to help out in this climate crisis. And we're saying that you need to do everything that you can do. Universities have to do more. Institutions and the government have to be doing more, especially if they want to act like they are sustainable or they want to be sustainable. I know so many universities that do all these little things. Oh, how great, we have solar panels now, or we don't use plastic straws anymore, small things that don't really make a huge difference. We know that animal agriculture is a driving factor, as well as fossil fuels and stuff, for the climate crisis. It is one of the leading factors. Also in biodiversity loss, also in deforestation. The evidence is so clear, and it has been cleared up by universities. Universities are the ones doing this research, and then they just choose to ignore it. And Nathan is playing into that hypocrisy and that incongruency, and I think that's a really interesting and good, effective way of arguing for this.
So you're saying that everybody has a duty to be vegan?
No, what I'm saying is universities...
Do we all have a duty to be vegan?
Do we have a duty to be vegan? I think that we should all be eating as sustainably as we possibly can.
So that wasn't an answer to the question. Do we all have a duty to be vegan?
Well, the science is, pointing us to the fact, we've got University of Oxford research, Harvard research coming out, almost weekly.
So students going to university who eat meat, the reason you're saying this is because you think we all have a duty to be vegan.
What I'm saying is that universities have a duty to act on the very research that they're providing. You would hardly see the NHS advertising cigarettes at a conference. No, I have answered the question, Ed.
Do we have a duty to be vegan?
I think we have a duty to eat as sustainably as we possibly can and to be supporting British farmers, supporting local producers in a way that's a win for everyone.
So this presenter is trying to get Nathan to give his own personal opinion on the matter. Of course he wants people to be vegan, but in this specific instance, in this movement for plant-based institutions, this is about the climate, this is about the environment, this is about a collective system, not about individuals going vegan, right? Even if universities were to go fully plant-based and their caterers were to go fully plant-based, students and professors could still bring animal products onto the campus. It's not forbidden. It wouldn't be illegal. It just wouldn't be available. And people might see that as forcing veganism on you, but it's necessary for us collectively to eat more plant-based, to transition our food system into a plant-based food system for the environment collectively. We need to do it collectively. It's not about individuals when it comes to the climate. Obviously, I do think individual change is very important also when it comes to the victims, the animals involved. But in this case, this campaign is about the environment. This campaign is about the collective system that we live in. And it's really great that Nathan is not stepping down from his point. Nathan is being very clear in what he wants to communicate.
OK, well, Carl, let's bring you in here then. So Nathan's saying it's a duty, it's a key solution to the climate crisis, and he also says that those who do serve meat, it's akin to serving cigarettes, to giving people cigarettes.
Morning. Yes, that's ridiculous, to be honest. We need to be buying British, and that includes eating in beef and lamb from the British Isles. Beef and lamb makes our countryside look the way it does. The grass, 65% of British farmland is grass. Last time I checked, we can't eat grass. Cows and lamb, sheep can. So they're the best thing at producing sustainable and producing from the UK.
I actually did some research on this point when he said this. And he's saying that 65% of UK land is permanent grassland, is land that can only grow grass. In reality, only 40% of UK land is currently being used as permanent grassland, and not all of that land can only grow grass. That land is now used for pastures, for grazing, for stuff like that. But we know that this has led to a huge biodiversity loss, and the UK used to be like forest land. There used to be wild forests, and now it's all just grass and nothing but grass everywhere. And that is not something to be proud of. It's a cause of species extinction. We have lost so many different species of animals because of this biodiversity loss. It's damaging our ecosystems and stuff. It's not a thing to be proud of, and this farmer is very ignorant of this fact. I don't know if he's saying this statistic. I don't know what source he has for this, but that is really, really not the case. We could for sure choose to grow different things on the land or rewild that land, but we wouldn't need 65% of the UK land to grow enough food and plants for the people in the UK to be fed adequately. I think it was the University of Oxford or Cambridge, I think it was Cambridge, who did a study about how much land would be necessary to feed the entire world population compared to our food system now, which includes animal products. So if it were a fully plant-based food system, we would only need about 1/3 of the land, the total land that we're using now. So even if there were grassland that we couldn't grow anything else on, it wouldn't matter anyway.
I would actually love to, reach across this divide and say to Carl, we are 100% on the same side when we say that we should be supporting British farmers and British producers. But doing so whilst we have our current food system with an inadequate subsidy scheme based on animal products is doing that with one arm tied behind our back. What I'd love to see is our government and our universities step up to support British producers. And in fact, there's research polling of farmers in Scotland that have had the question posed to them, if the subsidy system was put in place to help you transition to plant-based production away from animal farming, the vast majority of farmers said that they would love to do that. 65%
of the farmland we have, because you can only grow grass on it.
Of course, the farmer is interrupting Nathan's point, but Nathan was talking here about the subsidy schemes in the UK and many other countries, most countries actually, about how animal products are subsidized more than plant-based products. Just in general, like vegetables and fruits are not subsidized, whereas dairy is subsidized a lot, meat is subsidized a lot, which is just the government incentivizing bad choices in many different ways, like morally, I would say, because of the victims involved, also environmentally, whereas institutions like the government and universities should be incentivizing better choices for our collective society. And that is the point that Nathan is making.
So what else are you going to produce there? You can't rip the grass out because you can only... The mountains of Wales, you can't grow anything else there but grass.
That's a really interesting point,
it's a really nice idea to just turn plant-based.
The reason
but you're going to have to import it from abroad
is unsuitable for, arable crops right now
Exactly.
is
So
the fact that sheep grazing in Wales, you mentioned especially, has decimated the land. We have terrestrial dead zones which are essentially devoid of biodiversity. You know, Britain is in the bottom 10% of biodiverse countries.
Yes, go Nathan. Go Nathan, coming with the facts. Speaking from a completely factual level, yes, animal agriculture leads to terrestrial dead zones. It leads to loss of biodiversity. It is not a good thing. It is not a positive thing. Those are not positive effects. And we need to be entirely aware of that. We need people to be less ignorant about these facts. And not see animal farming as this idyllic thing that is just a win-win for everyone. It is not. It's not a win for the animals. It's not a win for our environment or our earth. And in the end, because we as humans are part of our environment, it is not a win for us either.
Is Carl wrong morally to be a sheep farmer?
What I think is that Carl...
You never answered my question. I ask these really simple questions. Is Carl wrong morally to be a sheep farmer?
Well, we can argue about that all day, but what we can focus on...
What is the answer? Yes or no?
I don't think Carl is morally wrong to be a farmer at all. I think he takes...
So the presenter here is trying to get Nathan to personally attack the farmer that he's speaking to, but this is not about just this farmer. It's about the entire food system. That is what Nathan is trying to communicate. So it doesn't matter whether he personally thinks that this farmer is morally apprehensible for farming sheep. Like, I would say so. He would say so, probably. Vegans would say so. But it's not about this specific farmer. It's about the whole food system. It's about a collective. That is what plant-based universities stand for. That is what they want to change. They want institutional change. So attacking this specific farmer for sheep farming is really not going to lead to anything. But unfortunately, the presenter was trying to bait him into saying something negative about him, which is like very professional television interview for sure.
I don't think Carl is morally wrong to be a farmer at all. I think he takes great pride in what he does, is providing food. You know, all our food comes from farmers, and I'm actually immensely grateful to Carl as a representative of the farming community for that. But what we also have to do is look at how are we producing food and how do we square the circle. For instance, you know, a kilogram of beef, and this is British beef, we're not talking anything imported from South America, for example, is an equivalent of driving about 60 miles in a car. A kilogram of lentils is about 2, and that's a startling difference.
We're running out of time, but final thoughts?
To buy British is really simple. They should be looking to source everything from the UK and not just claiming to go meat plant-based. It's a load of rubbish.
You don't need to buy animal products to support British farmers. That's the bottom line. That's what Nathan's been saying. Like, he wants us to buy local. He wants us to support local businesses, but he doesn't want to support animal products which are detrimental for the animals and the environment. It's very, very simple. And I think Nathan did a great job in this interview. Thank you for working on plant-based universities. I think it's a great organization. If you are personally a student right now, please sign up for plant-based universities to start a campaign at your university and turn your campus fully plant-based. That is what I'm going to do this year, or try to do at least. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Please go check them out on their social media channels. And please like, subscribe, leave a comment if you feel so inclined. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.